So welcome to the first video installment of Archetypes in the News for the week of January 13th, 2018. The new year has started off to quite a bang, and there's plenty to talk about, from Michael Wolff's Fire and Fury book to the ouster of Steve Bannon at Breitbart News to Donald Trump's shithole comments. So let's get right into it. We'll start with Michael Wolff's chart. He's born August 27th, 53, but he's born with a Mercury-Pluto conjunction. Mercury's the writer, Mercury's the mind, Mercury's the investigator. Pluto intensifies everything. So the Pluto-Mercury combination you see often with intense readers, writers, and investigative journalists in particular. And just to name a few, David Ignatius, he has Mercury square Pluto, 3 degrees, 18 to 15 Leo, 18 Taurus. Let's see, Carl Bernstein, born with Mercury opposite Pluto, 5 degrees, from 7 Leo to 2 Aquarius. Bob Woodward, born with a Sun Mercury 11 degree conjunction, but Sun exactly trine to Pluto at 5 degrees Leo from 5 Aries. So this is a field energy, and you can see the Mercury-Pluto obviously in his life. Let's see, Glenn Greenwald, same kind of energy, Mercury conjunct the Sun, 5 degrees, but he has a 4 degree opposition to Pluto at 19. So again, just a 9 degree Mercury-Pluto opposition. And go back, Naomi Klein actually has Mercury trine Pluto. It looks like 6 degrees. And Shane Smith of Vice News has an interesting alignment. He has an 11 degree Mercury-Pluto conjunction, but the Sun is in a 2 degree midpoint. It's in 1 degree conjunction with Mercury, but a 2 degree midpoint between Jupiter and Pluto. So it's a Jupiter, Pluto, Sun, Mercury kind of quadruple alignment. And again, investigative journalist. Let's see who else. Seymour Hersh, born with Mercury square to Pluto, 7 degrees. And Michael Moore, actually, Mercury trine Pluto, just 5 degrees, 17 Aries to 22 Leo. And what I wanted to show also is that right now, Michael Wolff, for the last couple of years, actually, what we're looking at here is Michael Wolff's natal chart on the inside, and here's his Mercury-Pluto alignment I was just mentioning. And these are the transits, what's happening in the sky right now. And the planet Uranus, which relates to liberation and awakening, and it tends to emancipate whatever it's in relationship with, it's been in a trine, a harmonious relationship, 120 degrees to his natal Mercury-Pluto conjunction. So this has been happening for the past 2.5 years or so, and it's just 1 degree from exact right now as the book is being released and liberating what he has been doing as an investigative journalist and liberating the secrets. That's what you see. Pluto relates to secrets, relates to the hidden, the unknown, the things that are repressed, and the things that are unknown. And so Mercury, the mind, wants to reveal that, and he's done that in writing. And Uranus is the liberative factor, and it's making him one of the most famous writers in the world at the present moment. And it's interesting, Jupiter is in a square to his natal Pluto, and will continue to do so, moving up in months. It's stationed here in 2 months, exactly at 23 Scorpio, exactly square to his natal Pluto at 23 Leo. And I imagine he is definitely going to become rather wealthy from this book. And so it's just a fascinating set of correlations. He's an investigative journalist, like many Mercury-Pluto people. And it happens that Uranus is liberating that part of his chart right now, and making him one of the most famous writers at the time. So, and let's see, let's take a look at Donald Trump. Interestingly, I want to back up a little bit because this is Donald Trump's natal chart, and he is born with a really interesting Mars rising with Pluto, and a midpoint between Pluto, Saturn, and Mars. And it kind of draws all of these together. And so if we go to the Charlottesville incident, which took place a week before this total solar eclipse that across the United States on August 21st, 2017. And that eclipse, this is the sun-moon alignment where the eclipse took place, is at 28 degrees Leo. That's just 2 degrees off of Donald Trump's natal Mars. So an eclipse, it is a shadow is being revealed of the solar dimension of things. It's just the shadow of whatever is being revealed. And in this case, it's with his Mars, which is the part of him that is aggressive, assertive, that has kind of instigated or unleashed the Mars energy in our culture in a lot of ways, especially in white men and the white supremacist movement, and what took place in Charlottesville, which happened a week before the eclipse took place. And interestingly, this is kind of liberating the unconscious dimension of Donald Trump's natal Mars. Now, furthermore, the path of the eclipse is completely fascinating. It crossed right through the United States, and it began in Lincoln City, Oregon. It passed through Lincoln, Nebraska, the capital city of Nebraska, and it ended in Fort Sumter, South Carolina, which is where the Civil War began. So again, the eclipse revealing the shadow of, in this particular instance, the past of America, the racist past of America, and unleashing the shadow dimension of it in a very visceral and a very vivid way just a week before that eclipse took place. Now, part of why I bring that up is because what's happening now for Donald Trump is a really interesting situation. Well, I will do this. We're about to move into the next eclipse, and that will take place on February 15th. It's the 6-month eclipse after the last eclipse, and it happens at 27 Aquarius, which is 1 degree opposite his Mars again. And again, he's we'll see what happens over the next 3 months and stuff, but eclipses, they come in at least 3 months before and last 3 months after, and vice versa. Some astrologers believe it's even longer than that. But what is really fascinating, just specifically about his transits right now, and the shithole comment that seems to be getting him in a lot of trouble, which he's said many things that should have gotten him in lots of trouble, but for some reason this one seems to kind of beginning to have legs. And I think part of the reason that's happening is because of this. This is Donald Trump's natal chart on the inside that we were just looking at, and these are the transits that are happening today. We'll back up just a day because it really was coming to light more yesterday. And this is fascinating. This is a Mercury-Saturn conjunction in the sky, which Mercury is the voice, the communication, the word, what's spoken. And Saturn is karma and the consequences of actions, but also consensus reality. It's like the truth, in how everyone sees the truth, in a sense, like what is agreed upon, the truth, the consensus reality. And there seems to be kind of a way in which, well, Saturn, it manifests things in a way that makes them more tangible and more enduring. They have a longer lasting effect, and often more karmic consequences to them. You often see karmic decisions made during Mercury-Saturn transits or alignments, or people who have a natal chart. It's an issue in their lives. But what's really fascinating here is it's not just a Mercury-Saturn conjunction in the sky that's taking place now, but Saturn is just now moving into opposition with Donald Trump's natal Mercury, and will be there for the next year and a half very solidly. And let's just move here in weeks. We'll see it moves rather quickly. You see it here moving up to 6 already, and then it actually stations at 8 degrees, I believe, or no, 9. Stations at 9 degrees, just 1 degree opposite his natal Mercury. So what's really interesting about this is that again, more weight, more karmic dimension to what is spoken, what his words will be. And there's, from what I understand, there are negotiations between his lawyers and Robert Mueller as to when he will testify or bring his testimony to the Russia investigation. And of course, everyone is worried because he is a pathological liar and can't seem to tell the truth, that he will potentially perjure himself if given the chance. And it really makes a lot of sense for Saturn opposite his natal Mercury for the next year and a half to have to face the consequences of the decisions he's already made, all the things he's decisions mind, and the things that he has said. So I'll also say that we're moving into a Saturn-Pluto conjunction for the next 3 years, and this happens to take place in opposition to his natal Saturn, to Donald Trump's natal Saturn. And what's really interesting about this is that Saturn is, like I was mentioning, integrity. It's how we live up to consensus reality and what people agree upon is real or not, or factual, and has a lot to do with integrity and honesty and sticking to the truth and the sense of right and wrong, our moral superego, what's right and wrong. And Pluto intensifies everything, and with Saturn, Pluto in particular, it'll be his Saturn opposition. So Saturn, if we move over months through the next few years, Saturn moves into the conjunction with Pluto, and they will both oppose his natal Saturn. So it's interesting. The last time he had Saturn opposite Saturn was in the early 1990s, 1991. This is when he first went into bankruptcy. The Taj Mahal and all that went under. So this is the Saturn return for that event. And the way I'm looking at it more specifically is that Saturn brings to light the karmic consequences of our actions, and specifically surrounding with the Saturn opposition, how we've been living up to Saturn's realm of integrity. Are we within integrity? Have we been within integrity? Are we telling the truth? And if not, it seems as though potentially consensus reality will now judge him. Saturn is the judge, and judge him on whether or not he's been within his integrity or not. And this is a very fascinating alignment. It's a very challenging alignment. Pluto by itself is, but this is also a Saturn-Pluto phenomenon for everyone in the world, but also Saturn opposite Saturn for him, which is a quarterly aspect of where he's been in alignment with his Saturn or not. So that's what I wanted to mention for kind of a review of just major highlights. We could go into Steve Bannon's chart, but I'm going to leave it for another time. And hope everyone's doing well this week. Take care, everyone, and we'll talk soon.